Hi Ralph, really encouraging to see Romeo Lavia back in playing for the B team last Sunday. Is he in contention to feature this weekend?
In contention, yes, but we had this week also a little bit problems with his knee, so this is very often when you are long out and you have some other issues, and we have to be careful. Yesterday he was not training, so but I think he will be part of the squad on the weekend. This is what I think quite likely.
And Armel Bella-Kotchap missed the last 3 games, but he's been back in full training this week.
Yes, he is also an option for the weekend. He's back in training and has trained everything and shows no fear or something like that.
Feels like England are cursed when it comes to their fullbacks at the moment. I know last week you said that Carl Walker-Peters had a low chance of playing before the World Cup. Has that changed at all?
Yes, it's I think from low to no, but I think it's not working now. So we have one week left, and he's not training with us, so I don't think so.
Any other new injury concerns at all?
No other injuries so far. That's good.
This is your last league game at home before the World Cup. Just how important do you see it being, trying to take something from the game heading into that winter break?
Very important and a very tough game against a strong side. Conceded 10 goals in all the games so far. We conceded 20. They scored 14, I think. We scored 11 or something like that. And you see that with clean sheets you can achieve a lot, and they did it in a fantastic way, you have to say. And yeah, a very strong side.
Newcastle currently 4th in the table. Do you feel like they have the squad to potentially stay in those sort of positions as we head towards next summer?
Absolutely. I mean, this is I think the target from them, and they want to become a top 6 club. I think this is the goal, and they're on a good way to do this because they have a strong side.
You look on with envy when you look at what they've been able to do in the last couple of transfer windows.
No, they're looking on our chances and on our level, and I think it's not the club we want to compete with.
It's a very different sort of transfer strategy, isn't it?
You know, a different potential maybe from the money they can spend, but in the end they have also different targets, and then you have to have this money to do this.
Thanks, Ralph.
Stu Armstrong, you said he had a problem at half-time and then he sort of limped off at the end. How's he done this week?
So far, so good. Still struggling a little bit, but with a lot of preparing for the sessions and recovering after the sessions, I think it's okay.
And in that B team game that James mentioned, Sekou did pretty well, 4 goals was it? So how do you see his development and his progression?
At first, I think this game was important for us to get everybody the game time what they need to have before we have the week now with 3 games coming up, because we will definitely give everybody the game time he should get, and therefore he should be on a good level. I mean, it was Premier League 2, and this is the quality of the opponent is for sure not like a Premier League club, this is clear, but I think it was important it's always important for a striker like him or like Theo that they score goals, and they did it, and it was for them important because you get self-confidence. I know that every goal is important for you as a striker.
Sekou showed flashes in his first couple of Premier League appearances. What do you want to see from him for him to appear in the Premier League proper more often?
The intensity in the game, I think, especially the runs against the ball, are definitely not on the level we need to have when we want to press. And the issue is that we see very often players, they are not used to it because they have never done it in their time before, and then it takes a little bit longer. When you see some others, they have no problem to adapt quick to this game. Some need a little bit longer, but this is definitely something he has to learn.
Going back to Newcastle, you mentioned the comparison between goals conceded, but in your last 4 games, I think you've only conceded 3. So what sort of platform does that give you, a base to build on?
Yeah, when it was one goal is enough to win against us, then it's not what we can live with, because in the end we have to be clear that clean sheets are helping massively. But I think the defending was not the issue in the last games. I think it's much more the being clinical with the chances we had, and when we do it a little bit better in front of the goal, I think then we can take here more wins, and this is what we are lacking in the moment.
There's always a lot of focus on the money side of Newcastle, but without being able to watch him work, the way Eddie Howe has seemingly improved players like Joe Linton and Almiron, how much have you been impressed by that side of things?
Absolutely. I mean, this is only the one side. The other side is that you have to work with the players you have, and I mean, Eddie was very long in Bournemouth, and in the end then struggled with his team, and then had no other job until he went to Newcastle. And in Newcastle he showed immediately that he knows what he does with the team, and this was for me not a surprise that he will be successful with his team.
You kept half an eye on Matt Targett, who of course started your first few Premier League games here. You know how he's developed in that.
Yeah, you have all the foreign players. They have been with you in your side. You have them in your mind, and you watch them, and you see them how they are doing it when they are going to other clubs. This is normal, I think.
Thank you.
Ralph, what about the ferocity, the power with which Newcastle are pressing when they haven't got the ball? Eddie's gone very strong. He did it when the best Bournemouth teams did it. He's doing it again. You've done it when you've had your best performances sometimes. How do you deal with that? Do you go toe to toe and try and out-press each other, or do you have to come up with other strategies?
No, it's impressive to see how they're doing it. I think that they are definitely having the players to do this, and not every player is playing in the moment. So Sam Maximum was not playing all the time, and he's more going for the players. They give you this intense game, this lot high speed running, especially against the ball. And we all know that this can be a very nasty way of setting an opponent under pressure. But we also have been a team with this style, as you said, and we know also what hurts teams like this. And yes, I think when we do it well, we can still cause them some issues, some troubles. You don't get a lot of chances against this team, that is for sure, I think. But when we have a good evening, we have shown it also against other good teams that we can break their rhythm and cause them some issues. And especially in our ground with our fans in the back, I think we should be able to cause them some issues, and this is the goal for the Sunday.
Do you see quite a few similarities between the two of you in your style of coaching and the way your philosophies are, and your commitment to being on the training ground as almost coaching managers, not just sitting with your arms folded on the sideline?
Maybe you know more about him, how he's working, than I do, because I...
On the pitch I see that similarity.
Yes, maybe, but I cannot say about his total philosophy, how he works and how. But I think he's one of the managers in England, young managers in England, where they have still a lot of experience in the Premier League. I mean, he had a long time in Bournemouth, and finally got now a club where he can show how he can deal with a bigger side, and this is fantastic to watch.
The other thing about this week is that obviously this is the last league game before Boxing Day at home, so potentially it's your last league game before you complete 4 years, which will be early December. You won't have a game. What's your thoughts about your time and you get to that 4 years, you've got to 4 years effectively now with this weekend coming up in the Premier League at home. What are your thoughts about those 4 years at St Mary's and 4 years at home matches, and just how you feel 4 years on?
Yeah, I think we have not the time now to speak about my impressions. What I can tell you, I must say that these 4 years were very intense. Learned a lot of friends here, a lot of fantastic people, and enjoyed every moment. I always said that it is a beautiful job and a stressful one in some moments, but also a job where you can give a lot of things back to the people. They are trusting you, and I think we had some really beautiful moments here, and I think in the end 4 years are a quite long time in the Premier League, to be honest. I mean, when I was coming here, when you would have told me at the time that I'm here in 4 years and more than 150 games, it's massive. It's a long time in football, in modern football anyway, and a very stressful one. You see it, I think. When I look sometimes in the mirror and I see pictures when I was starting, and I look now, then you know what I mean. But yeah, we are all not getting younger. But in the end, I must say I've learned a lot here and enjoyed every moment. And I think it is beautiful to have this job and to be part of this story.
You must be quite proud, because not many managers last 4 years, never mind the top level, in any of the top leagues.
Yes, I would be more proud when we could have also maybe won a little bit more in some moments. I think when we would have ended up higher, some years it was definitely possible, and then in the end we couldn't do it. But there are also some things what you can be proud of. But I knew very early that what is it about to work here in this club, and what will be the issues. It's a completely different than in my last job when I was in Leipzig, where it was about being in the Champions League or whatever. You have to know this, you have to accept it, you have to learn that there are some more defeats during the season. But when you can handle this, then you can still be happy with what you have here and fantastic people around you.
Well, I think that's what you should be proud of, is the fact that a lot of managers don't want to deal with that difficulty every year. They want a club with lots of money and lots of easy environment and do everything. You know, it's a labour of love, isn't it? It's a difficult thing.
Understandable, yes, but it seems that I never had it easy in my life. So it's. But as long as you have the energy to do this, then you enjoy it also when it's not always super nice. But you make the life nice for us.
I'll try.
Okay, we'll move on to the section of the 10 days this evening. Start with you, James.
Afternoon, Ralph.
Afternoon.
In terms of World Cup plans, do you know when you'll be flying out overseas or who you'll be playing yet?
I have a clue. It's not the time to tell you because it's not 100% fixed, but we should know it, and when we know it 100%, then we will tell you.
Just on Thierry Small, he's been out on loan, but he's also featured for the B team. What's the latest on him at the moment?
Yeah, from the last scouting report, I don't want to speak about it too much. I think we are in good news about all the players. They are in the moment playing somewhere else, and so we will know about him, and this is okay.
Tino stepping up his recovery, he's out on the grass running. How important is it for him to feel like he's part of the group still?
He is not really part of the group in the moment, or since the last months, but this is also not important for us. It is important that we see that everything goes in plan, everything is going in the right direction. When you know immediately that it takes long, then you can wait for it, and we are all hoping that there are no complications and that it will come to a good end, and then he's having hopefully all the time he needs to have to come back fit. And yeah, when it is after the World Cup, I think it's a little bit too early, but it cannot take long after the World Cup until he comes back, and this is the positive thing.
You made efforts to speak to him individually so he doesn't feel isolated away from the group?
Yeah, as often as I see him in the building or at home, because we live in the same in the same tower. So sometimes we have a chat, yes, when we meet each other. But yeah, you can be sure that there is not so much time for me to speak to every injured player.
You run into each other a lot in the flats, or?
He's right beside me at the car park, and he knows when I'm here, and I know when he's here. So that's the positive thing.
Yeah, Ralph, good afternoon. You spoke earlier about being more clinical, obviously, since August, since you last scored 2 goals in a Premier League game. Creating some chances, creating quite a few good chances, obviously the same in the last game. Do you think it's as simple as just taking those chances? How do you actually become more clinical as a team?
Yeah. There's always the guy who shoots and the guy who makes the saves. And in the last games, We have been second winner, or sometimes Shea, sometimes some other players. We had some good goalkeeper saves against us also. Cannot forget this, but it's not always about luck or something. It's about quality finishing, and I think there we can definitely improve. Yes.
Is that something you feel you can work on the training ground, or is that something that's mental in players' heads? I'm just trying to figure out, I guess, how do you actually get those quality finishes out of the players?
I don't think that I feel that we should work on this, because when I see the time we spend and the time we invest for doing it as a massive part of our sessions. But yeah, I think this is something that you have to improve as long as you are playing. I mean, I was a striker until I was 37, and I must say that you never stop improving your weaknesses, your maybe not so good foot, or everything is to improve, and especially for the strikers where I don't have a lot of time, then it should be possible to get better every time.
And in the summer at the fans forum, I think you and Toby Steele and Martin Simmons spoke about the Premier League getting more and more difficult in the 4 years since you've arrived at the club. I guess Newcastle are a very good example of how much more difficult the Premier League is getting. They were always a big team, but they were more competing towards the bottom of the table when you arrived, and now obviously they've spent a lot of money and they're looking for the top 4, top 6. I mean, just how much more difficult has the league gotten since you joined?
Yeah, the more money it comes in, the harder it is to compete, and it is the best league in the world. And you can see this season also that there's no team really dropping off like in the last years, where you have normally 2-3 teams immediately dropping. Now it is very tight here in this bottom half of the table. But with 2 wins, you are immediately 10th, and if you lose 2 times, then you are maybe under the line. So it is this season. It will be very tight.
And I guess that how close the league is and how quickly you can go up or down. On the one hand, that could fill some with fear about how quickly a team can drop, but also it must lead to some optimism where you know that one good run and suddenly the entire complexion of the season looks completely different.
Yes, I mean, this was not different to the last years. You need these runs. It's getting a little bit more difficult, I think, to get these runs, because the teams are getting better and the quality is high. And we have, as we know, a very young, if you want to say, unexperienced Premier League team. So for us, it will be. It was from the first moment clear that it will be a difficult season.
And just in terms of the World Cup, obviously it's coming very soon. We've unfortunately over the last few weeks seen a number of players get injured for various different clubs and countries. I mean, is there any sort of temptation on your part to rest players who could be going to the World Cup, or is your focus just have to be solely on getting points?
Well, the good thing is we don't have that many. So it is also not necessary to take rest for somebody. Yeah? I think there are some, they have a chance to go there, and I think it's not a good idea to go in a game and think, oh, hopefully I don't hurt this game or I don't get injured. So this would not help anybody. Yeah? When you go in 50% in every duel because you think you can hurt yourself, it's not the way you can play football in the Premier League.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, Ralph.
Hi.
You mentioned that 3 games in a week, so you're going to have to kind of, rotate your players a little bit. I wanted to ask about Moussa Djenepo, someone who signed a new contract not too long ago, but hasn't really featured in the last 4 or 5 games that consistently. What do you need to see from Moussa in order to get a starting position and play a little bit more?
At first, I need to see his baby, because in the moment he's in Paris and with his wife, because I think it's not happened so far, but I think so. He will not be part of the team on the weekend. And when he comes back and he's a happy father, then hopefully he will put all his new energy, because I know that it does something with you when you become father the first time. Hopefully then he puts everything on the pitch and performs what he has also shown in this club.
It seems like at the back, in the defence, you've got an idea of who maybe your preferred back line is, but in that midfield area where you've got players like Moussa, Stuart Armstrong, Adam Armstrong, are you still waiting to find the perfect number of which players you want in those positions?
Yeah, the problem is that every player has some different qualities, and if you would have the ideal number 10, what gives you everything, it would be easy for him to play all the time. But in general, we have some good runners, some good footballers, some good dribblers, amazing passing players. So when you mix them together, you have an unbelievable 10. But yeah, every player has his qualities, and it very often depends on what we need, on who we play.
Does that make it a bit harder then to find that consistency if you do have to change players around to suit different teams?
That can be also an advantage, that you are harder to read and harder to see what is coming up. So we definitely know what we get from the players. I think meanwhile we are working so long with these players together that you know that you don't get a pressing monster of this player, but you get some maybe with the ball fantastic dribbler, ball carrier, and this is what you have to know. But then you have to also know that there are some weaknesses what you have to accept.
Thanks, Ralph.
Ralph, talk about the defensive record recently. How much credit must go to Gavin Bazunu as well, the way he's grown into that role since he arrived in the start?
I must say that he from the first day when he was here, he showed his belief in his qualities, and his character is very based, very grounded, and for sure a goalkeeper with a lot of potential, and still a lot of a lot of things to improve. But I think he has the mentality, he has the character, and finally also the drive to work on his game. And with Andrew here as a goalkeeper coach who helps him massively, with Alex and really two experienced goalkeepers. They are also fantastic to him, really help him. What is not always so easy, especially for Alex, but he does a fantastic job, I must say. And this group is very, very committed and with a very good atmosphere. And this is for Gavin a very good basement, I think, for developing his game.
And his confidence levels, the way you said there about his attitude, quite refreshing for somebody that age to have the confidence that he does. It seems like nothing really phases him.
Yeah, I think with the ball he can still be a little bit calmer in some moments. I mean, he's in his first year in the Premier League, and this is not so easy then to stay always that cool. But I think we are demanding this and asking for this, and But he has also a good long goal kick, so it is a very good package, I must say.
And the atmosphere last game against Arsenal was electric, particularly the second half. How much encouragement does that give you about what St Mary's could really be like when the team performs so well?
We love to play at home, and we love to compete there with these top teams. And I'm sure that in some moments we have to deliver at first before we can ask for support. This is also normal for our ground. But when we are delivering, then they are there, and then they can count on them, and then they are behind us. And even if you don't win the game, you have the feeling when they're going home that they are still supporting us, and this is something special, I must say.